So hello and welcome to the video. And welcome to Gatwick Airport, an airport that the airline I'm travelling with today doesn't actually fly from. If you go to this airline's website and try to book this flight, you can't. Indeed, you can't book any flights on this airline that depart from Gatwick. And that's because today's flight is a charter flight. I'm flying today to Tenerife with Jet2 to connect to a cruise operated by P&O. So this flight has been exclusively chartered for passengers of P&O cruises. It's been tricky to find much out about this flight before travel, so I was quite excited to see what was going to happen. And I was quite excited to be going on a cruise. Not excited enough to record an intro to camera though, but you can't have everything, I suppose. So if you'd like to see what happened, stick around. Hi, I'm Matt. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.4 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe to the channel so you can come with me on my next trip. Into the terminal, and the flight was showing on the departure board, so it was easy enough to find the check-in area, which was actually quite a pleasant experience. It's always going to be a bit simpler if every passenger is going to the same place. A couple of guys were managing the line and they told us we would need to collect our bags from the baggage claim on arrival in Tenerife to then carry them through customs. We would then be met by P&O reps who'd point us towards the buses. Our bags would then go on the bus and we wouldn't see them again until they were delivered to our cabins. So they asked us to attach the cruise baggage labels before the flight, as well as having the bags tagged for the flight. I was a little worried that those cabin tags might come off in transit on the plane, but all was well. I didn't video the return flight, but things were even more seamless on the way back, in that baggage tags for the flights were delivered to our cabins a couple of days before the end of the cruise. Our tagged bags were then collected from our rooms, and we next saw them on the baggage carousel at Gatwick. That was a little nerve-wracking, as it felt like quite a lot could have gone wrong, but it turned out that the promise was kept. I was with my mum, who's not great on her pins, so I'd gone against my own advice and prepaid for fast-track security, £5 per person. Buying access on the spot had gone up to £7 since my last visit, meaning there needs to be a queue for regular security less than 70% of the time to make it better to buy fast-track only when you need it. But we were happy to pay for the peace of mind, and it was a pretty quick process. No lounge today. I could have bought access, but this was around 9 in the morning, so we elected to sit in general circulation until it was time to head to the gate. Gate 33 that morning, not the nearest for those not good on their pins, but I guess Jet2 doesn't get its pick of gates as it doesn't regularly fly from the airport. Then I experienced the most civilised but slowest boarding experience of my flying career. Everyone was getting on this cruise, so everyone was British. Everyone was really relaxed as their hollybobs had started, which meant that it was all very civilised. But as almost everyone was of an advanced age, as you would expect for cruise passengers travelling in term time, it was really, really slow. We'd been able to reserve seats 14 weeks before departure, although we'd had to do it through a P&O website rather than through Jet2, and it had been a little clunky. You were asked to pay £17 to reserve any seat, but it was only £8 more to reserve ones in the exit rows, so we'd grabbed row 16 on this 737-800, and after waiting patiently in the aisle as the more elderly passengers manoeuvred themselves into their seats, we found our very pleasant accommodation for the 4 or so hours down to Tenerife's South Airport. A no frills seat, so no recline, but you do get a cup holder and a table, which doesn't extend towards you, so it was not wildly convenient in this exit row, but I'll take the extra legroom over a snugly fitting table any day. No in-seat power, no entertainment screens, and no Wi-Fi. But there is some luxury not offered by the likes of British Airways in the form of personal air vents. The seat cushion was a little short in that exit row, which didn't give much support to the back of your thighs, so it did get a little uncomfortable towards the end of the flight, but again, I was content to put up with that in exchange for the legroom. But there was an armrest on the window side. I made sure it was in the down position for takeoff. The plexiglass on the emergency exit window didn't take my camera's suction cup, so here's some handheld takeoff footage. These flights were included in the cruise fare I paid. It was a little complicated as the cruise we bought included onboard credit, but single occupancy of a balcony cabin on a 7-night cruise from Tenerife with flights and transfers from London cost £870, so it all was exceptional value. Check out my cruise channel for a review of the cruise and for lots of other cruise related stuff if bobbing around on a boat is your thing. Flights from Jet2's regular London home at Stansted to Tenerife can regularly be found for less than £100 each way. There was a fairly comprehensive in-flight menu with the sort of food and drinks options you'd expect. The crew were really good. Perhaps the happy demeanour of the passengers echoed back onto the crew as they seemed to be really enjoying themselves. I was in row 1 for the return flight and got chatting to the cabin manager, and it seemed like Jet2 treats its crew quite well, which may also explain things. We'd self-catered with a variety of pocket meats, so I didn't need to buy anything. I'll speculate that quite a few passengers did something similar, as later in the flight the crew promoted the sandwiches again, albeit with a 50% discount. There was also a duty-free round, although it's quite a hard sell when people are about to get on a cruise. There was more interest on the flight back and pricing seemed respectable. So 4 hours passed. It's one of the longer flights I'd want to take in that kind of seat, but the last 30 minutes was enlivened with some good views of Mount Tidy. We flew into Tenerife's South Airport, despite the North Airport being much closer to the cruise terminal. But North is primarily a domestic airport with some international services offered by Vueling. I really liked Jet2. It's a low-cost offering, so you don't get much, but what you do get was delivered with professionalism and a smile from the crew. I would certainly consider them again for shorter hops if their scheduled options bring them into consideration. And we pulled up to a bus gate, always annoying. It did mean that front and back stairs were used, but as row 16 was slap dab in the middle of the plane, we were just about the last passengers off. And once again, it was really, really slow. Into the terminal, and we were alternately streamed to manned desks and automated kiosks. We got an automated kiosk, but even so, we still needed to interact with an agent to get our passports stamped because of Brexit. But at least I got him to avoid stamping one of the 3 remaining empty pages of my passport, which I'll count as a win. Bags arrived relatively quickly, cabin tags intact, and we quickly found the reps beyond customs who directed us to the buses, and the story will be picked up in my cruise video. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you're new. Check out my cruise channel, and if you'd like to support what I'm doing more directly, I have a Patreon account, the link to which is in the description below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.